CFS 50, coming to you from the FAO building in Rome. It's a bit of a virtual event. We have a lot of people online, and it's a hybrid because we have a few people in the room with us here. I am pleased to welcome you on behalf of the Global Agriculture and Food Security Program. My name is Catherine Hollyfield. I'm the program manager. I would like to recognize the co-hosts for this event as well. We have IFAD, we have ROPPA, and we have Canada as well, which are helping us host this event today. Give you a 2-minute description of what you can expect to hear, or the focus of our discussions today. We are really interested in creating a space for dialogue around the various financing tools, modalities, and particularly including this focus on small-scale farmers, providing grants and other forms of blended finance that can support the empowerment and the development of the producer organizations and farmer organizations. We'd like to highlight a few successful initiatives, including from our co-hosts. Both the GAFSP would like to highlight a few things. We have IFAD joining us as well to highlight some of their successful initiatives in this space as well. What I would like to do is start by handing over to a colleague to actually give you a bit of a formal introduction as well. Let me turn to a representative from IFAD, Marco Camagni. He is the Global Senior Technical Lead of Rural Institutions. He has prepared a video message for us today.
The CFS side event, transforming food systems, investing in producer organizations, innovative approaches to support smallholder farmers. First, let me introduce myself. I worked for IFAD for over 20 years in different functions and duty stations, the last one in Lima, Peru. And I've recently been reassigned as the new Global Technical Lead for Rural Institutions at IFAD, replacing Jean-Philippe Audinet and starting officially in November. I'm deeply sorry of not being able to fully participate in this event today, which comes at very timely as an opportunity to take stock of the long-standing partnerships between producer and farmers organizations, FOs, and donors and international organizations such as IFAD. In fact, IFAD recognizes farmer organization FOs as strategic partners, both at global level and at country level, where effective collaboration in country programs and investment projects between both parties is a key priority to effectively support smallholders and poor rural household development. IFAD supports FOs worldwide to both effectively represent their members and engage in policy dialogue and provide them with economic services, economies of scale, stronger bargaining power for the profitable integration into markets and value chains. IFAD's approach is based on two fundamental instruments. First, institutional dialogue through the Farmers Forum process, and two, investment through sovereign loans and grant-funded program projects. The Farmers Forum FAFO was established in 2005 and is led by the FAFO Steering Committee, composed by representatives of the global and regional FOs from all over the world. The Farmers Forum is a unique bottom-up approach of consultation and dialogue involving FOs, governments, and IFAD. It is the interface of the pro-poor development intervention and the process of enhancing the capacity of the farmers and their organizations. This process enables IFAD to leverage direct funding opportunities for global and regional FOs through the FO grant programs. The Regional Farmers Forum were introduced in 2016 in line with the decentralization process in IFAD. This year, for the second time, the Regional Farmers Forum will take place. 7 events are organized starting next week until February 2023. This process is key to define priorities for improved collaboration and financing mechanisms for FOs. Both in the context of FAFO as well as the country level, IFAD has engaged over the years with FOs to support more directly financing mechanisms for their FOs networks. The common feature of these programs is that they are developed by FOs and for FOs, in line with their strategic directions and priorities. Management of funds by the FOs has been a key element of this strategy in order to empower them and their leaders. Over the years, there have been a number of FO grant programs, such as FO for SEP, FO for Asia, and FO for LA, focusing on building FOs' networks capacity at national and regional level, with the EU as an historic strategic partner in financing those programs. In the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, the IFAD Rural Poor Stimulus Fund helped strengthen FO resilience to better cope with the crisis period. For IFAD, the GAFSP PO window mechanism is another instrumental financing opportunity to strengthen FO's priorities, particularly at the country level. And last but not least, IFAD-funded projects and programs consider FOs as strategic partners, a key entry points for rural development. Through a participatory approach, IFAD and FOs work together to continuously strengthen capacities, services, and innovative ways of improving the livelihood of rural households, including women and youth. I wish you a fruitful discussion, and I'm looking forward to continue engaging with you all in the new role. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marco, for your strong introduction this morning. What I would like to now turn to is to a few opening remarks, and I will call from a representative from the European Commission at this point. He is joining us live, I believe. It's Luis Rodriguez, the Program Officer for Sustainable Agri-Food Systems and Fisheries, and the DG International Partnerships for the European Commission. Luis?
Hello, good morning to everyone from cold Brussels. Well, I'm going to introduce a few remarks from the EU side. Well, it's my pleasure to participate today at this side event of the CFS alongside IFAD and the Global Alliance for Food Security program. Well, related to our policy towards farmers organization, I can say that actually it's embedded in in larger goals. So these goals are the global challenges that I think we're pretty familiar with that. Ensuring food security, improve livelihoods, better manage rural resources, protect the environment, and achieve sustainable development, and particularly in rural areas. As a means to that, the EU ambition is to support the family agriculture. Family farming, after all, is one of the key pillars of the EU itself, of the EU economic system. So in this aspect, farmers' organizations should play a pivotal role in order to achieve these goals. Under the new European Consensus for Development, the EU engaged to promote and support farmers' organizations and cooperatives to address better productivity of family farms, land use rights, and traditional farmer-based seed systems, but as well to develop agriculture markets and value chain in partner countries, which benefits the poor and encourage agro-industry to generate jobs and benefit. This in line with the CFS principles for responsible investment in agriculture and food systems. Just like the Global Alliance for Food Security Program and IFAD, the EU has made it one of the missions to work more and direct closely with the producers' organization. Related to our direct support from my Direction General, International Partnerships to farmers' organizations, I can say that our scope geographically covers almost all our partners' countries, and our main channel is the IFAD programs, which span the space ACP, African, Caribbean, and the Pacific, a big program called Farmers Organizations for ACP, but as well in Southeast Asia, FO for Asia, and Latin America, FO for Latin America. This program aims at strengthening farmers' organization, institutional and organizational capacities, but furthermore to improve its entrepreneurial capacities and participation in value chains and access to finance. Actually, EU relies on the operational support of IFAD to help the farmers' organization to develop their capacity and access to higher political levels of advocacy within their regions. Second channel is through the research and innovation with facilitated by AgriCord and working as well with these organizations. Overall, from aid policy from EU, farmers' organizations receive around 75.5 million ongoing programs. Just to conclude, a couple of challenges ahead. I mean, on the operational side, is the effective role of the farmers' organizations to influence the local, national, and global policies, and channeling the bargaining power of millions of smallholders in partner countries. That's what we really look forward to. And on the financial side, actually, our financial modes are going more into decentralized. So it's more at the country level that main funding is happening at on the new multi-annual funding cycle. So it's more at this level that finance is going to be for the organizations. Actually, we need your support. Actually, especially from the farmers' organization, we need your help to help you in order to communicate on the very concrete outputs you are delivering for actually make us advocacy for further the funding for you. And that's it. I'm looking forward to listen to the panel and the session. Thank you very much for organizing this.
Thank you very much, Luis, for providing the critical perspective of the European Union, the European Commission, and more specifically for highlighting your partnership with IFAD. We have one more opening remark. I'd like to introduce a video that was sent by Corey Van Gaal. Corey comes to us as Deputy Director for Global Affairs Canada and is the chair of the GAFSP Steering Committee.
Hi, my name is Corey Van Gaal, and I'm the Deputy Director of the Agriculture Finance Program at Global Affairs Canada. I'm also the chair of the Global Agriculture and Food Security Program called GAFSP. Over the past 10 years, GAFSP has played a critical role providing almost $2 billion to national governments in developing countries to build more robust food systems. Today, I don't need to tell you how vulnerable those food systems are due to the pandemic, conflict, as well as a mounting climate crisis. I also don't need to tell you why multi-donor funds like GAFSP are important to help coordinate our resources. But we do need to talk about how we work more effectively to address the structural causes of this crisis and to avoid going from shock to shock. To be more effective, we really need to get money into the hands of those that need it most, and that's the smallholder farmer. Today's event will highlight the importance and the advantage of investing directly in producer organization, enabling their members to become their own agents of change, and promoting bottom-up rather than top-down approaches. In 2016, GAFSP launched a specific financing line to provide direct support to smallholder farmers and their organization. The wealth of knowledge and information that will be shared with you today is the result of our experience at GAFSP, as well as the experiences of our partners, including IFAD, civil society organizations, and the producer organizations themselves. In line with the CFS principles for responsible investments in agriculture and food systems, at GAFSP, it's our core belief that family farmers are best placed to define their own needs and to work with their organizations to implement projects that address those needs. Locally led approaches are key to driving the adoption of new practices that help farmers adapt to climate change. They're also key to addressing power imbalances that limit the voices of marginalized groups, including women and Indigenous peoples. It is our goal to put farmers in the driver's seat and give them a central role in decision-making at GAFSP. And I take this opportunity now to also share that the GAFSP's 7th call for proposal is now open to country-led project proposals. A second part of this call, specifically dedicated to producer organizations, will be launched towards the end of this year. I want to thank the United States, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Spain, and Germany for making this call possible. We invite the global community to come together in this critical time, and in particular, I call on the G20 to support GAFSP and help advance responsible investments in agriculture that put smallholders first.
Sorry, thanks very much to Corey for sending the video and for giving such a great presentation in terms of the GAFSP program. What I'd like to do now is hand over the reins to Alberto Guerra and hopefully Constance Okeke, if she's been able to join. Alberta is the Senior Policy Advisor for ActionAid USA. She is also a critical steering committee member for the GAFSP. And Constance is a project manager for public finance and agriculture at ActionAid International. Over to you, Alberta.
Thank you very much, Catherine, and good morning, all. I'm very happy to be here. And yeah, even if it's virtual, I think that there is a lot, I can feel a lot of energy in the room. So really happy to moderate this first part. As Catherine was saying, I was supposed to co-moderate with my colleague Constance, but probably she has some connection from Nigeria. So I'm happy to take on this, this part. We do have a very rich panel of representatives from institutions, but also farmers organizations that will present their perspectives and their contribution to this discussion. I just want to flag that we do have at the end of the session some time reserved for a discussion with or intervention from the audience. So you can take the floor directly, or maybe you can just post questions or comments into the chat in order to address all of them later on during the Q&A session. So happy to start this panel discussion. I'm happy to give the floor to the representative of CNOP. CNOP is the National Coordination of Farmer Organizations in Mali. We do have with us Mr. Kanta Soumana. I somehow expect he speaks in French, so just to reiterate that we do have simultaneous translation, interpretation from French to English. And I hope that our colleague from CNOP is here, and it will be really exciting to hear from him directly from the producer organizations what characterized a producer organizations, what are producer organization specific needs, what are their role, and why they are so critical from smallholders, bearing in mind that we are talking again about producers organizations, which is something that I like CNOP to talk more about it. So hope Mr. Kanta is with us. I'm giving him the floor. Okay, bonjour.
Bonjour à tout le monde.
Please go ahead.
Moi, je m'appelle Soumana Kanta. Je suis le coordinateur technique de la Coordination nationale des organisations paysannes du Mali, communément appelée CNOP Mali. J'ai reçu ces mails pour participer à ce débat, à cette discussion, et partager un peu quelques idées, quelques réflexions avec l'ensemble des participants. Bon, en fait, on me demande de préciser qu'est-ce qui caractérise une organisation de producteurs. Bon, quand on va un peu vers la littérature, il y a beaucoup de définitions qu'on donne aux organisations de producteurs. Et pour moi, ça peut être une question d'école. Mais pour ce qui me concerne principalement, en tout cas de par l'expérience que nous avons avec les organisations de producteurs au Mali, la définition que nous avons trouvée, c'est qu'une organisation de producteurs est considérée comme une organisation rurale. Elle peut être formelle, tout comme elle peut être informelle, et dont les membres sont des petits exploitants agricoles. Et cette organisation de producteurs, elle est constituée à l'initiative d'un ensemble de producteurs qui assurent une même production et qui se regroupent dans l'objectif de mutualiser les moyens afin d'améliorer les revenus de leur exploitation par le biais de l'amélioration de la production, de la commercialisation et des activités de transformation locale. Généralement, ce qui caractérise les organisations de producteurs, on a un certain nombre de points, sans être beaucoup plus exhaustif. Généralement, les organisations de producteurs, ils disposent d'une vision claire des objectifs depuis la création de leur organisation. Ça, c'est vraiment l'une des caractéristiques fondamentales. Avoir cette vision et qui précise bien les objectifs de l'organisation. Ce qui la caractérise aussi, c'est cette gouvernance transparente. C'est-à-dire, quand on se réfère même au niveau des textes fondamentaux qui les créent, vous avez le paiement des cotisations qui se fait de façon irrégulière, sauf quelques rares fois où on a des difficultés. Mais vous avez aussi la production irrégulière des bilans d'activité. Et généralement, ça se fait en fin d'année. En début d'année, c'est des planifications et en fin d'année, évidemment, c'est le bilan. Et avant d'arriver au bilan, il y a toujours des revues à mi-parcours pour se situer. Est-ce que réellement, on est en train d'aller vers cela? Mais en même temps, c'est un outil aussi qui peut nous permettre aussi d'avancer dans nos différentes réflexions. Et l'une des caractéristiques aussi, c'est cette bonne capacité de communication qui est surtout interne. Et cette capacité aussi de favoriser les services de base et autres aux membres. Ça, c'est une définition que nous retenons au niveau des groupements, des organisations de producteurs, mais en même temps, ce qui peut la caractériser. Bon, par rapport aux besoins des organisations de producteurs, les besoins sont très nombreux. Mais la première des choses, c'est la formation. Les organisations de producteurs ont besoin de formation. Ces formations peuvent être d'ordre technique. Ces formations peuvent aussi être d'ordre, comment on va dire, je dis bien technique, hein, et même spécialisation, donc la formation de spécialisation. L'un des besoins aussi, c'est le financement des activités agricoles. Et à ce niveau, ils ont vraiment besoin d'avoir accès au crédit au niveau des institutions financières. Ça peut être des banques classiques, tout comme ça peut être des microfinances. Et l'autre aussi, c'est comment avoir accès aux intrants, notamment les engrais, les semences, surtout de très bonne qualité. Et comment avoir accès aussi aux équipements, surtout le matériel générique. Vous savez, généralement, les petits producteurs, là, ils ont besoin d'un matériel générique, la charrue, une paire de bœufs, une charrette, un âne, etc. Et progressivement, ils arrivent à améliorer l'équipement pour arriver à des équipements beaucoup plus lourds pour pouvoir mieux produire et autant assurer non seulement les besoins alimentaires de la famille, mais aussi faire face aux besoins du marché. Bon, ensuite, vous avez aussi l'accès au marché. Les producteurs, ils ont beau produire, autant ils vont assurer la sécurité alimentaire et nutritionnelle de leur famille, leur exploitation, mais ils ont besoin aussi d'augmenter leurs revenus et donc il faut avoir accès au marché pour pouvoir mieux écouler leurs produits. Alors ça, c'est quelques informations que je peux citer au niveau des besoins. Comme je l'ai dit, les besoins sont très nombreux, mais ça, c'est vraiment les besoins essentiels que les producteurs ont besoin. Et l'autre rôle, en tant que coordinateur de la CNOP, c'est comment accompagner les élus Et puisqu'ils se retrouvent de façon régulière pour y réfléchir par rapport aux orientations stratégiques de l'organisation et comment arriver à atteindre les objectifs. Et en tant que technicien, donc je suis un conseiller, autant je leur apporte des appuis conseils, mais en même temps, j'essaie d'assurer aussi la relation entre l'organisation et les partenaires techniques et financiers et même l'État. Donc, c'est vraiment un rôle de conseiller, donc un rôle d'appui conseil. Alors, quelque part, on nous demande pourquoi les organisations paysannes préfèrent soutenir et accompagner les petits producteurs. Généralement, un petit producteur, l'avantage qu'il a s'il est dans une organisation de producteurs, c'est qu'il peut bénéficier d'un certain nombre d'appuis. Et comme je l'ai dit, il peut avoir la formation, il peut avoir accès au crédit, il peut être approvisionné en intrants et il a la possibilité aussi de renforcer ses capacités de production, ses capacités d'échange avec les autres. Et donc, au niveau de l'organisation, si je prends le cas précis de la CNOP, nous avons à peu près 3 points essentiels qui doivent être retenus. La première des choses, c'est comment arriver à fournir ces services aux membres, notamment les organisations paysannes, les fédérations qui la composent. Ces OP, à travers la fourniture de ces services, donc ils arrivent à accéder à l'information, à la formation et aux innovations techniques à travers la recherche, à travers le conseil agricole. Elles organisent aussi l'approvisionnement en intrants des membres et la commercialisation de leurs produits. Mais l'autre aspect aussi, c'est comment améliorer le pouvoir de marché des producteurs, c'est-à-dire les mettre en position plus favorable pour commercialiser ou acheter des produits. En s'engageant dans les OP, les producteurs renforcent leur pouvoir de négociation avec les autres acteurs économiques, notamment les fournisseurs, les industriels, les commerçants. Mais l'autre rôle fondamental, ça c'est influer sur le processus de prise de décision politique, surtout des décisions publiques qui viennent de l'État. Et cette influence, généralement exercée grâce aux OP, peut jouer aux échelons niveau communal, les OP de base, ça peut être aussi au niveau local, tout comme ça peut être au niveau national. Il s'agit là pour les membres des OP de promouvoir des politiques agricoles et rurales ou des projets qui prennent en compte les spécificités des agriculteurs. Mais généralement, ce que nous constatons, c'est que nous avons beaucoup de producteurs agricoles qui ne disposent vraiment pas de ressources humaines compétentes pour développer des programmes et rechercher des financements afin d'offrir des services aux membres. Mais néanmoins, les réflexions sont toujours en cours pour voir au niveau de la CNOP en lien avec les fédérations qui la composent et ces fédérations aussi qui ont des OP membres à la base, comment la CNOP peut les appuyer et à leur tour, comment elles aussi elles peuvent appuyer les OP de base. Donc, nous sommes à ce stade de travail avec les fédérations qui composent la CNOP. Je pense que je vais un peu m'arrêter là à travers les questions et réponses. on pourra beaucoup approfondir les quelques points d'attention des uns des autres. Merci.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kantan. And sorry, I didn't want to distract you or interrupt you, because this is really a critical input to understand the role and the value of the POs and how much they are pivotal to help their peasant and smallholder farmers members to access the market, access the credit, to do basically the work they have to do. So thank you very much. I forgot to to flag that I will use this one to maybe inform the panelists that they just closed the time of their intervention, so we do have enough time for the Q&A session. So thank you, Mr. Kanta. I will now move straight to Annick Sezibera. I hope to pronounce well the name. Executive Secretary of the Confederation of Associations of Agriculture Producers for Development in Burundi, CAPAD. So happy to give the floor, and please try to stick between 5-8 minutes, and I will inform you when you are coming to end of the time at your disposal. So please, hopefully the connection is fine with Annick. Bonjour. The floor is yours.
Bonjour. Merci pour la parole. Et comme signalé, donc, je représente la Confédération des associations des producteurs agricoles du Burundi, et la CAPAD, qui est une organisation qui regroupe plus de 253 coopératives et groupements pré-coopératifs, et qui a la chance de collaborer à la fois avec les projets publics, mais aussi de bénéficier des investissements et des financements directs en tant qu'organisation paysanne. Je vais donc vous présenter l'importance pour nous, selon notre expérience, des investissements et des financements directs aux organisations des producteurs agricoles, donc en parlant du cas d'OCAPAD, parce que contrairement aux autres programmes dans lesquels des programmes publics dans lesquels les OP sont impliqués, des fois dans la mise en œuvre, mais pas forcément dans l'identification donc des problèmes, mais aussi dans l'identification des activités. Les financements directs sont des financements qui permettent à une organisation paysanne, mais aussi aux agriculteurs, aux petits exploitants agricoles, d'une part, d'abord d'apporter des solutions à des problèmes identifiés par eux-mêmes, ainsi que des solutions qu'eux-mêmes ont identifiées, et de pouvoir renforcer les stratégies, mais aussi les capacités de résilience pour répondre aux différents défis auxquels ils font face. J'ai raté la première partie de la présentation, mais j'espère qu'ils sont revenus sur les grands défis auxquels les petits exploitants agricoles font face, mais aussi mon collègue de Sinop Mali vient de brosser un peu. Mais le grand défi aujourd'hui, c'est le défi lié au changement climatique. Donc, ça nous permet de développer des stratégies d'adaptation, mais aussi d'atténuation, des pratiques aussi agricoles plus durables. Et ça nous permet aussi de renforcer les innovations, mais aussi de tester de nouvelles innovations, de travailler avec les scientifiques chercheurs pour nous aider à améliorer les innovations en cours ou à résoudre les problèmes, mais en passant par les solutions qui sont en train d'être testées et mises en place par les organisations et les exploitants agricoles. Mais aussi, ça permet des échanges et le partage des leçons apprises, que ce soit des succès, mais aussi des échecs, entre pairs. Et ces projets aussi nous permettent d'accès aux facteurs de production tels que les intrants, tels que le matériel agricole, adapté aux besoins et dimensionné aussi et selon les besoins. Et ça nous permet d'éviter des dimensionnements qui sont des fois observés dans d'autres genres de projets. Ça permet aussi aux exploitants agricoles et à les organisations et non seulement de participer aux chaînes de valeur, mais aussi de nouer des relations durables, mais également de participer même à la gouvernance des chaînes de valeur, et cela par l'augmentation de leur pouvoir de négociation, lequel pouvoir est apporté par la représentation et la visibilité qui est donnée par les financements directs, mais aussi par le volume aussi, donc à travers l'amélioration de la production, le volume aussi qui les apporte. Et ça leur aussi permettre de travailler à la fois sur les questions liées à la sécurité alimentaire, liées à la nutrition, mais avec les flexibilités que ce genre de financement direct offre aux OP, mais aussi ça permet le renforcement du capital humain. Nous, par exemple, le projet qu'on vient d'avoir avec GAFSP, c'est sur l'amélioration de la sécurité alimentaire pour environ 4800 petits exploitants agricoles familiaux. Et cela à travers donc l'amélioration de la production de la banane avec des bananes saines et des variétés riches en vitamine A, mais aussi des haricots fortifiés qui vont permettre à la fois d'améliorer la sécurité nutritionnelle des familles bénéficiaires, mais aussi qui va permettre d'être en lien avec le secteur privé et sur la banane, que ce soit en amont et en aval de la chaîne de valeur de la banane. Et ça va nous permettre de tester les choses pour lesquelles on a fait le plaidoyer ces dernières années auprès des programmes publics, malheureusement où on n'avait pas trouvé d'issue, sur le renforcement du capital humain, parce que la plupart des projets ne donnent pas peut-être assez de moyens au renforcement de capacité des agriculteurs, mais aussi au renforcement institutionnel, organisationnel et des coopératives de base, pour que ces coopératives puissent mettre en place aussi des services durables à leurs membres, mais aussi des services qui répondent à la fois aux préoccupations liées aux aspects sociaux, mais aussi liées aux aspects économiques et que les agriculteurs font face dans leur milieu, et aussi renforcer les capacités des coopératives de base de négociation, mais aussi d'interagir avec les différentes parties prenantes dans le milieu pour améliorer l'environnement, mais aussi le développement des activités des petits agriculteurs. Ça, c'était au niveau des exploitations. Donc, d'autre part, les investissements et le financement direct que nous recevons nous permettent de faire une mise à échelle des résultats ainsi que des leçons apprises, nous permettent nous-mêmes, en tant qu'organisation paysanne à un niveau national, de nouer durablement des relations en amont et en aval des différentes chaînes de valeur, renforce notre pouvoir aussi de négociation, nous outils en capacité, renforce aussi notre professionnalisme, mais aussi renforce notre inclusivité, plutôt notre visibilité, et nous permet d'être beaucoup plus inclusifs afin de représenter les petits exploitants agricoles, que ce soit dans des dialogues que nous menons avec les interlocuteurs privés, publics, mais aussi avec les partenaires techniques et privés. Et je dirais qu'en conclusion, les investissements et les financements directs, en tout cas, permettent à la CAPAD de pouvoir pérenniser les activités du projet, notamment parce que la CAPAD, c'est une structure pérenne avec une assise communautaire. Donc, ça permet de faire prolonger la continuité des actions d'un projet, même au-delà de la durée du projet, et permettre, comme je l'avais souligné aussi, une mise à échelle à travers le partage, mais aussi nous permettre de garder ces relations qu'on aille de conforter les relations qu'on a en amont et en aval des chaînes de valeur, surtout avec le secteur privé, et pour tout ce qui concerne l'amélioration d'affaires et des capacités de négociation avec les différentes parties et parties prenantes, et nous permettre aussi d'améliorer notre implication dans la mise en œuvre, mais aussi la mise en place des programmes et politiques agricoles dans nos différents pays. Je vous remercie. J'espère que j'ai respecté le temps.
Thank you very much, Annick, for another very rich contribution. I hope that we will have the time to come back to some of the aspects later on during the Q&A session. For now, I will just move to the other side of, let's say, of the context. We heard from producers organizations themselves. We now hearing from IFAD, from Fanny Granville, Senior Regional Technical Specialist in Rural Institutions. He had a long-standing experience in working directly with farmers organizations. We heard about the amazing experience with the IFAD Farmers Forum. So we'll be keen to hear what's the difference between working with governments and NPOs, and what are the specificities, the specific things that need to be changed or tailored to work better with POs. Ask also to keep in 5-6 minutes, so we do have time for the debate. Thank you so much, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Alberta, and good morning, afternoon, everybody. My name is Fanny Granville. Greetings from Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, where I'm based in the regional office of IFAD in West and Central Africa. So first, I want to say and remind everybody that the farmers' organizations are really key strategic partners for IFAD. They aggregate the smallholders from village through cooperatives, farmers associations, unions, federations, to more apex organization at national level, as Annick and Sumana Kanta were introducing a couple of minutes ago. And they are really essential partners to reach out to the rural poor for economies of scale, of course, but also more efficient intervention. It's very important for us to remind that it's key. What is key to IFAD is that the PO's mandate goes really beyond the provision of economic services. You know, it's about solidarity, social support to rural people, but it's also about public good provision, such as landscape development, natural resources management, and raising the voices of small-scale food producers towards better shaped rural development policies that will impact all the farmers. And that's very key. I wanted to just remind that. And when you ask me the question on the difference, when we go through directly through POs and rather than governments, I would like to say that IFAD's engagement with POs, it's not about actually opposing direct support to POs to our regular investment project support that goes through the governments. On the contrary, it's about finding synergies, between the two models and the two approaches, and at the same time to support the integration of POs as stronger partners in our investment projects with governments. So how do we do that? And maybe this is why how we go a little bit more into the insights of our models. So we have the PO capacity development programs that Marco and Luis mentioned in introduction, the FO for ACP, for example, in Africa, Caribbean, Pacific, that help the PO grow into stronger and more professional organizations that are better equipped to become strategic partners of the public-driven interventions. There are also the PO-led initiatives like the GAFSP-funded PO-led projects that are really breeding grounds for innovation that boost the PO's development significantly through increased investment in their economic activities, and that should really inspire construction of public policies in the several countries. So that's important to see that first we have these programs that are building the capacities of FOs networks at regional, national, local level. And then we have these kind of PO-led programs to build models that could be replicated in public programs. Actually, the whole purpose is that we are aiming to support stronger POs with enhanced economic, social, and environmental services that are the backbone of sustainability of the public intervention, actually. So this is important also for IFAD. Now you raised, and it's very relevant, what are the specificities that need to be considered by the partners, including the donors, all kind of financial and technical partners, when one engages directly with the farmers' organizations. And then I can give you a list of priorities, I would say, a list of points to consider. First, the importance to ensure that we accompany the producers' organizations' strategic orientations. As Marco was saying in his introductory word, it was the PO programs we have, it's programs that are designed by the farmers' organizations for the farmers' organizations and implemented by the farmers' organizations. So they are totally in the driving seat. So listen to the PO's priorities is the first key recommendation. Then other specificity that needs to be considered is that the institutional support to the POs is really key. POs, governance bodies, we need to support this. It's essential so that they maintain sound and internal representation mechanisms. Kanta Sumana was saying that in his also contribution. Also make sure that there is a balanced support between strengthening the PO's administrative and management tools that are very important, but also upgrading their systems to meet the minimum donors requirements. So not too much burden on their shoulders, try to really adapt as much as we can the procedures, so we accompany their own tools and their own systems, but also we help them to have the minimum systems that can meet the donors' requirements. Also, another specificity is to make sure that there is sufficient resources to invest in human capital, as we say in FAO, right? And training of the leadership and technical team, that's very important. Annick also mentioned that. In general, it's important to have in mind that PO-led initiatives, so as I was saying before, the PO need to stay in the driving seat. And as IFAD, we try to provide technical, administrative, and management guidance, also advice on demand, knowledge experience from other PO programs. We're kind of brokering of the knowledge, and also strategic accompaniment when it comes to connecting to other technical and financial opportunities. So that's a kind of role we can also play. Maybe just a final word is actually about the debate. We are talking a lot about the importance of private sector in the rural development, and therefore what specifics need to be considered when one engages with POs. I think that POs are the private sector. The farmers are the first private investors in agriculture. But POs cannot be considered as a regular kind of private sector, because I was saying they have much more to offer in terms of social and environmental impact. Therefore, we as a donor community and partners community, we really need to think of different kinds of tools to accompany these farmers organizations. So this will be my final word. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fanny from IFAD. It was really important to underline what is the difference and the specificities of the POs. Sometimes it's not very clear to all what we were talking about. So we are running a bit behind the time. So let me give the floor to Irish Bagila. She's the coordinator, I guess, from Asian Farmers Association of the UN Decade on Family Farmer and Women's Farmers Agenda. Arish, she's also in the, supporting AFA as a representative into the GAFSP SC committee. So we really closely work on that. Happy to give you the floor to tell about your experience as AFA, but also bringing how farmers and POs are acting during this time of crisis. So please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Alberta, and thank you for inviting AFA to be in this side event. I was listening to the three panelists before me, and actually there are so many similarities, and I guess it's because we have similar principles and bottom line as to why we advocate for direct financing and direct partnership with producer or farmers organization. So as Alberta mentioned, I am with the Asian Farmers Association for Sustainable Rural Development, a regional alliance of national farmers organizations and cooperatives. So in few minutes, I'll be sharing with you some two concrete projects that AFA was involved in. So first, I think one of the concrete example that aligns well with what Fanny has been saying is the Missing Middle initiative in Bangladesh, entitled Increasing Access to Finance for Farmers Organization in Bangladesh. So this project is being implemented by Sara Bangla Krishak Society and the FAO. So I have seen that many of the outcomes that we have observed aligns well with what has been mentioned earlier. For example, Sara Bangla, or SBKS, it was initiated by the government. There was an intention to consolidate the producers organization and have them in one national farmers organization. So the government initiated profiling. They selected a producers organization, and then with that initiative, they applied for the MMI pilot, and they were able to get the grant. And it was through the Missing Middle initiative that they were able to register themselves as a legal entity, as a national producers organization. And it was also through the MMI project that they were able to undergo training, and it's through the resources that were made available to them with support from FAO that they were able to the systems that are needed so they can run their organization to better serve their members. So it's through the project that they received the recognition from the government as an able partner, and also same with the private sector that they tried to engage. And most importantly, the financial institution, the banks that don't have a positive perception of producer organization. So it's through the MMI project that they were able to build themselves and have a good track record as an organization able to access services and are able to pay back and are able to serve their members better. So that's for the MMI. That's what we have seen for the Missing Middle initiative in Bangladesh. And what I want to share in the remaining time is the project that AFA is implementing at the regional level with IFAD and with support as well from EC. So this is the ARISE project, or the Assuring Resiliency of Family Farmers Amidst COVID. So we received these funds from IFAD, and we use these funds to respond to the needs of our members during the COVID crisis. So it's a regionally coordinated and nationally implemented COVID response project. And really the objective of this project is to strengthen the capacities of POs or FOs, so they can manage the production support, and that they can expand the existing private-public producer organization partnership in order to address the lockdowns associated with COVID and the market access difficulties. So basically, it is a revolving fund. So AFA gave this revolving fund to the countries, to our members, and in turn, the FOs gave this fund as a loan to their members. And with the mechanisms that were put in place, we were able to recover the fund 100%. So, but of course, we were able to provide the needed technical support in order to in order for the members to recover the fund from their members. So, what have we learned so far? So, 4 points, Alberta. I think I can finish that in a minute. So, we have learned that collective and complementary action by and for and with federated farmers organization is a quick and efficient delivery mechanism, particularly in times of pandemic, because we know we have a much simpler system. We can communicate directly with our members, and that we have established the social capital needed. And with farmers organization as the conduit for financing, the issue of information asymmetry is addressed. The recipient of the revolving fund is well known to us, and that they have a prior record, they have membership information. So the risk is somehow reduced. And with the revolving fund, it was used to to support working capitals of the farmers organization and agricultural cooperatives. And it was also used by cooperatives to buy directly from their members at an agreed price. And of course, through this partnership, we were able to establish a much stronger relationship with our members and other farmers organizations who are not necessarily our members. And also, it's through this fund that we were able to provide financing to our members, where other financial institutions hesitate to give, especially during crisis, because of the risk that they might face. So I would stop with that 2 concrete examples, and if you are interested, please get in touch with AFA.
Thank you, Arish. I think probably this is just the start of the conversation, because addressing also the logistic of how that mean working directly with POs, I think deserve another time, another space. Just very quickly, for those who are not familiar, when we say MMI is the Missing Middle Initiative. It was the first pilot used by GAFSP to fund directly POs. Now the GAFSP has a permanent POs-led funding track, so a modality that provides funding directly to producer organizations, so not more as a pilot, but as a part of the structure of the GAFSP. So I'm happy to give the floor to Marcela Villarreal now from FAO, Director of Partnership, Advocacy and Capacity Development. We are in the middle of the decade of the family farming, so who better than her can explain how POs are important for the decade and in the decade. Please, Marcela, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alberta. It's really so very nice to see you again. And hello also to Catherine and to the colleagues. I think this is a really important side event for the whole of the CFS 50. Of course, investing in producer organizations is key for the whole development agenda, and whose voices are better to tell it than what we just heard directly from Sumana, from Anik, and from our Irish. And of course, investing in producer organizations is at the heart of the decade of family farming. The decade was launched in 2019, and the main objective, of course, was to develop, improve, and implement public policies and investments. So that's very, very central to what the decade wants to achieve in support of family farmers. So for us, family farmers include, of course, pastoralists, fishers, foresters, indigenous peoples, and other groups of food producers, with a view of accelerating efforts to reach the transformative ambitions of the 2030 agenda. And as you may know, we are running a joint secretariat for the implementation together with our sister agency, IFAD. So it's a pleasure to be with IFAD here today, as usual. So today, the support and strengthening of producer organizations, we believe, is more important than ever. Compared to 2019, we are facing a tougher context and a number of serious, and I think even more serious challenges. So while we're still struggling with a health crisis, we're facing an increasing climate crisis and experiencing the serious effect of armed conflicts. And at the same time, we are all witnessing growing economic and social hardships that result in increasing inequalities. The complexity and extent of the challenges that we are facing today call for an approach that must be based on collaboration between governments and a plethora of different relevant stakeholders. First of all, family farmers themselves and their organizations to ensure effective implementation. So we need to think about effective mechanisms and innovative ways to increase capillarity, flexibility, and effectiveness of actions targeting family farmers. And this is a key point to address during this discussion. So despite the narrative, we've heard sometimes a little too much claiming that they are inefficient, family farmers continue demonstrating that when they are supported with affirmative policies and programs, adequate investment, their needs are tended to, they have a unique capacity to redress failures and weaknesses of the agri-food systems, responding to global problems with contextualized and local solutions. So the incredible potential of family farmers and their organizations for the provision of effective and inclusive services to their members and their communities has been reconfirmed during the years of the COVID-19 pandemic. Their structures from local to global level have played an essential role in the dissemination of information, in raising awareness and mobilizing their members and rural communities to support effective implementation of health, emergency responses, and crisis management measures. We have witnessed emerging alternative logistical and food distribution initiatives promoted and put in place by family farmers organizations and cooperatives, which directly link producers and consumers by applying new forms of organization and new technologies, such as tools of e-commerce to maximize their access to reliable and remunerative markets. If we're in search of sustainable solutions, we cannot work with hundreds of millions of small scale farmers on an individual base. So the UN and governments need to strengthen capacities to work with producers, organizations, and through producer organizations. So indeed, there are several interesting examples of cost-effective arrangements promoted by governments that benefit from producer organizations' capillarity, capacity to mobilize their members and technical expertise, to implement policies or to deliver rural services. So these arrangements allow to minimize the operational costs of reaching rural populations, as shown already, very well shown in experiences of rural education offered in West Africa, or to reduce the efforts to register family farmers to access public policies and services, such as done in South America, or facilitate the provision of different services to rural women, as offered in Asia. So today, at this event, we also address the importance of innovation. I am convinced that one of the areas we would most need innovations in is in the way we conceptualize, design, and implement our policies, programs, and projects. And producer organizations can help us to contextualize and design our interventions. So the UN Decade of Family Farming dedicates special attention to the strengthening of family farmers organizations in order to amplify their capacities to generate knowledge, represent farmers' concerns, and provide inclusive services in the rural-urban continuum. And so for that, the Global Plan of Action has a dedicated pillar. So dedicated pillar, pillar number 4 out of 7 pillars is dedicated to producers, organizations, and strengthening them. So for us at FAO, we have one of our big priorities nowadays, our new strategic framework is the transformation of agri-food systems to become more inclusive, more efficient, more resilient, and sustainable. And we believe that without strong producer organizations, we won't be able to reach these goals. We won't be able to transform agri-food systems as we would wish to. So the Joint Secretariat, as I mentioned before, FAO together with IFAD, has developed global knowledge products to offer technical support for strengthening producer organizations and their capacity to deliver inclusive services and to support the implementation of context-specific public policies for family farming. I'm pleased to share that the decade has accomplished great results during these first 3 years of implementation, and that is despite the very difficult and unprecedented circumstances that we are facing. This success was possible thanks to the deep involvement of over 1,800, so we're close to 2,000 farmer organizations and federations, whose contributions in terms of mobilization, facilitation, and technical expertise was fundamental, especially in the framework of the over 65 national committees for family farming and other multi-stakeholder platforms for policy dialogue. Producer organizations are our precious ally, and they offer a chance for us to improve the ways in which we operate. Much has been done already. However, we still need to invest much more and better in the work with them if we really want to tackle the structural global challenges with an innovative and transformational approach. Indeed, there are many mechanisms and processes which offer interesting opportunities and foster fruitful synergies with the activities under the umbrella of the UN Decade of Family Farming and at the global all the way to the national level. So we very much look forward to collaborating with GAFSP and other partners in order to accelerate the potential of family farmers organizations towards the achievement of the 2030 Development Agenda and beyond. So thank you for your attention, and back to you, Alberta.
Thank you, Marcella. Indeed, I hope that, again, this is just the start of the conversation. We will be able to really go together and embark in a pathway that will strengthen this experience of supporting directly producer organizations. Okay, the panel discussion is ended. So I'm happy now to pass the floor to my colleague, Constance. She is connecting directly from Nigeria. I'm jealous because she has the luck and pleasure to work directly with women farmers organizations. So she's really well placed to conduct us into the Q&A, and also to say something about her experience before ending to conclusions. So Constance, thank you to all the panelists, and Constance, over to you for the next session, and apologize, I ran a bit late, more than I expected.
All right, thank you, Alberta, and thank you, the wonderful panel, for this enriching discussion. And it's quite exciting to listen to you this morning. Just like Alberta have said, the work we do with smallholder farmers in Africa, with a bid to pushing policy changes to ensuring that investment affects the life of smallholder farmers, especially women. And we have tried and tested this, and we know that, yes, when you hand money over to farmer organizations, especially the women, you get results. And I want to agree more to Marcel's use of the word unique ability to use this investment. And it's quite enriching to listen to the different farmer organizations and sharing the need and how important it is to finance smallholder farmers. And I'm also so glad that the GAFSP has pushed and launched resources channeled directly to farmers. But before we go to the question and answer, I would like to allow Musa So, the second vice president of ROPPA, to just say something before we go to plenary. Mr. Musa, I'm going to give you just 2 minutes of my time. No, 1 minute of my time. So the floor is yours. Thank you.
Constant, we used to be friends, huh?
We are still friends. We are still friends.
I think we should reach a compromise here. Thank you very much. Thank you, colleagues here and the ones that are connected virtually. It's also a pleasure to be part of this. I'm currently in Rome for the CFS negotiation, CFS 50. Let me tell you that last night we left the FAO office around 2 a.m. this morning. So it is still negotiations are still going on. But I'm just to add on what Fanny said, and so I'll be happy also to say that when we have to support farmers, like Fanny said, they need to see how you can put the farmers in the forefront of the work. Because there is a point that he mentioned about the institutional strengthening is very key, because we are looking at sustainability here, the exit strategy. If you really want to have exit strategy for any particular project, you need to see how you can connect with existing organizations that probably will carry whatever has been introduced by GAFSP, after project activities. I think the other one also is will be important to see how we look at knowledge management and communication. I think it's very key and central to see how the local knowledge, the indigenous knowledge is harnessed and being, at least, kept in archives, to at least it could be used after project activities. And the other one also is to see how we can look at the economic initiatives, because we are looking at how to support women, how to support youth, and how to encourage them. So they need to also concentrate at one point on the economic initiatives, the training on entrepreneurship, value addition, standardization, the quality of the food, because at one point it's always difficult to access international market because of standards and quality. So it will be important to see how farmers could also be given the opportunity to really, be exposed to what the standards are, and also be trained on quality standards, and also look at entrepreneurship and so. And the other one, which is very critical, is to see how farmers are supported to at least develop their strategy plan. So many organizations are operating without a strategy plan. And it's only through the strategy plan that you can have a sense of direction. You'll be able to evaluate yourself and keep and at least develop some priorities. It will be very, very important to see how farmers are also supported when it comes to establishing their strategy plan. And one crucial thing is, how do we ensure adaptation and resilience? We know that climate change is one thing that is real, and farmers are finding it very difficult to really adapt. Yes, there are climate finance all over the world, but the climate finance looks at mitigations, and then the smallholder farmer contribution to climate change is very little. So it is support to really look at adaptation and resilient building of the farmers. And I think there's also a scheme that FAO is promoting, even though I have not had the FAO president have to mention that, is the farmer field schools. How do we get farmers, to be given this knowledge of research? How do they disseminate this knowledge? Because there are proven reports that the ratio in some countries is 1,000 farmers to one extensionist, and there's no way 1,000 farmers could be supported in terms of information from a single extensionist. So the promotion that FAO is doing about the farmer field schools is to see how farmers can also be trained to assume those kind of roles, to work directly with their farmers through the farmer field schools. And maybe also that it's important to look at exchange visits. I mean, we have different ecologies, the regional and continental realities are different. How do we also engage in exchange visits and a specific product to see if that can also be promoted? And maybe we need to look at the decade of family farming, but we also need to look at the tenure rights, tenure on governance, landslide, looking at other tenures, biodiversity, and water at one point is also very important and crucial. Finally, I need to only mention on the issue around advocacy and policies. We have
okay, Musa, thank you so much.
Oh my God.
I know your passion about what you do as a smallholder farmer leader. And yes, I can attest, because we are friends, we are colleagues, we've done this, and we can never ever finish, but I promise you we'll continue this discussion. It's not over until it's over, but at this point, I think we need to move on because we still have questions from the participants, and also we still have one or two comments. I really appreciate, but please,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. What you're doing. We can also still share. All right, there. Okay, at this point, I would like to acknowledge the fact that we've had a very enriching discussion, and salient points has been raised, innovations, ideas has been shared. We noticed some questions on the chat box, and we know that people might also have one or two clarifications. But before we do that, I would like to give the floor to Najiru Sal, the Secretary General for ROPPA, to speak. Najiru, I will give you, okay, I will allow you 2 minutes still. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Bonjour, je suis Nadir Sall, un agropasteur du Sénégal, secrétaire général du réseau des organisations paysannes de l'Afrique de l'Ouest, qui évolue dans l'espace de la CEDEAO avec ses 15 pays. Moi, j'aurais peut-être 2-3 éléments à apporter comme contribution. La première chose, on est organisation paysanne pour défendre nos propres intérêts. Et dans nos propres intérêts, il y a ce qu'on appelle les instruments de financement. En quoi les petits producteurs peuvent arriver à avoir des systèmes de financement adaptés à l'évolution de leur métier. C'est dans ce sens que nous avons eu à se concentrer, nous, en tant que société civile, sur la création de ce fonds qui a démontré effectivement d'utilité, particulièrement sur son segment qu'on a intitulé milieu manquant. Ça voudrait dire quoi concrètement? Ça voudrait dire ici que la première chose qu'il faut relever, c'est la question de la responsabilisation et de la responsabilité que nous sommes des acteurs qui essayent de réfléchir sur quoi on devrait agir, et au-delà de cette réflexion, arriver à avoir des systèmes de financement qui l'accompagnent et de s'assumer sur la responsabilité de l'évaluation de ce que nous avons fait. Globalement, sur ce plan, nous avons d'une manière générale une satisfaction globale. Pour 3 raisons. La première chose, c'est que cet instrument de GAFSP nous permet à beaucoup aider à améliorer notre voix avec les autorités publiques en termes d'écoute, en termes d'attention et au-delà, en termes de propositions concrètes. Mais deuxièmement, nous avons pu en même temps commencer à nouer des relations avec le secteur privé pour alerter sur quoi on devrait préserver. Le petit producteur, en termes d'investissement, au moins, travaille sur 3 éléments qui sont essentiels. En premier lieu, en quoi un investissement pourrait aider à garantir une bonne productivité et une bonne alimentation, mais tout en préservant nos eaux, nos terres, nos forêts, c'est-à-dire nos ressources de base. C'est sur ça que nous essayons de construire l'ensemble de nos métiers, qu'on soit sur le végétal ou l'élevage. Mais au-delà de l'ensemble de ces éléments, en même temps, ça a été des outils de dialogue entre nous et les gouvernants et les décideurs, en termes de projection, en termes de ce qui devrait être fait. Les expériences qui ont été présentées fondamentalement le prouvent, qu'on soit du point de vue du Mali, qu'on soit du point de vue du Sénégal. Nous, en même temps, la fonction d'alerte que nous avons pu effectivement utiliser dans le cadre des visites que nous avons eu à faire d'une manière générale dans les projets pilotés par les milieux manquants ou pilotés par le public, c'est-à-dire par les pouvoirs publics. Donc, globalement, moi, si j'aurais à donner une appréciation, c'est une appréciation positive de cette idée de fonds, mais en même temps, de la création des différents guichets qui essayent de faire porter les acteurs en fonction de leur spécificité, mais mais la connexion entre les différents guichets. Je pense que nous, du point de vue du Sénégal, nous avons eu un excellent travail pour arriver cette fois-ci effectivement à passer avec un lien avec le ministère de l'élevage de notre pays, où tous les techniciens se sont mobilisés, particulièrement sur le plan public, pour apporter leur contribution sur quelque chose qui a été décidé, sur quoi nous voulons agir ensemble. C'est autant d'exemples que je pourrais donner effectivement par rapport à ce qui a été
Okay, so
fait.
thank you, Sal. Thank you, Sal. Thank you. Thank you so much for that enriching information. Unfortunately, it seems like we are running out of time. We had noted some few questions. We might not have opportunity to react to them, but the idea is that this is a continuum. This is a discussion that has to go on because like our speakers have reiterated and everybody has said, it's quite important for us to, push and advocate for effective financing of producer organizations, giving monies directly to smallholder farmers because we know they have the key and solution to addressing our food systems and our food productions.
S'il vous plaît, il n'y a
we'll
pas de
continue making sure
traduction.
that capacities are built,
S'il vous
especially
plaît.
institutional capacities of farmer organizations to push for these things. And I can tell you
Non, on
from
n'entend
experience,
pas l'interprétation.
I can tell you from experience that smallholder farmers do really have these skills and knowledge. All they need is just the support to push them out a little. There are questions on issues of competition between smaller producers and members of cooperatives. Some people also want to know the difference between farmer organizations and producer organizations in terms of structures and rules and what they do to support their members. And then there are also questions on environment. How are smallholder farmers organizing in preserving environment and combating land degradation? There are also questions about research in terms of marketing and what could be done differently. And finally, there is also a need, or rather a question on in terms of the relationship between members of big farmer organizations and actors of agroecology. I know we do not have much time. We are rounding up because I have been told that we have run over by almost 5 minutes. But like I said, this is a beautiful event and the discussion will always continue because until we put the farmers at the forefront of the solutions we need to have in terms of our food systems and our food production, we will never get there. Thank you everybody for the time and also the panelists and the organizers. I wish us well in Rome as we go on with the CFS discussions. Thank you and we sign out.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Right.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Great event.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.